There is a tree growing in almost every county in the United States right now. It has been growing on this continent for longer than agriculture itself. Every autumn, it drops hundreds of pounds of dense, calorie-rich food onto the ground. Nobody plants it, nobody waters it, nobody sprays it, and almost nobody picks it up. The oak tree is arguably the most productive, most resilient, most widespread food source in North America. And yet, if you asked 100 Americans to name it as a food crop, you would be lucky to find even one. That silence is not an accident. It is the result of a very specific set of economic decisions, cultural erasures, and industrial priorities that reshaped what Americans were taught to recognize as food. And if you trace that story from its beginning, what you find is not just a forgotten tree. It is a forgotten food system that fed this continent for 10,000 years before it was deliberately replaced by one that requires you to buy everything, every single year. Long before European ships reached the Atlantic coast, the oak tree occupied a central place in the food systems of indigenous North America. From the Miwok and Pomo nations in California, to the Cherokee in the southeast, to the Algonquin peoples of the northeast, acorns were not a backup food. They were not a famine ration. They were a dietary staple. In parts of California, acorns supplied more daily calories than any other single food source, including game and fish combined. Entire villages organized their seasonal rhythms around the acorn harvest. Families maintained relationships with specific groves, returning to the same trees year after year, generation after generation. Processing methods were sophisticated and highly refined. Women would shell the acorns, dry them in the sun, grind them into a fine flour using stone mortars, and then leach out the naturally occurring tannins using cold running water or carefully heated water baths. The result was a mild, nutty flour that could be baked into bread, cooked into porridge, or pressed into dense cakes that stored through the winter and well into spring. This was not primitive foraging. This was a managed perennial food system that required no planting, no tilling, no irrigation, and no annual seed purchase. Many tribes actively managed oak groves through controlled burns and selective tending, encouraging the healthiest trees and improving yields over centuries. And the system worked reliably across thousands of years and across wildly different climates. Oaks grew in the deserts of the Southwest. They grew in the river valleys of the Midwest. They grew thick across the Piedmont of the Southeast and on the rocky ridges of Appalachia. Wherever people lived on this continent, there were oaks nearby. And wherever there were oaks, there was food. What made acorns especially powerful as a staple was their nutritional profile. A dried acorn carries roughly 390 calories per 100 grams. That is slightly higher than wheat flour. But unlike wheat, acorns contain a significant amount of fat, somewhere around 20 to 25%, depending on the species. That fat content made acorn-based foods far more satiating than grain-based equivalents. A smaller portion kept a person full longer and provided steadier energy. Acorns also supplied meaningful amounts of manganese, copper, and other trace minerals that annual grains often lack. In pure survival terms, acorns were a superior food to wheat, and the tree that produced them asked for nothing in return. This was not a secret known only to North America. Across the Pacific, Korean cuisine has used acorn starch for centuries. The toramuk, a firm, savory jelly made from acorn flour, remains a common dish in Korea to this day, sold in grocery stores and served in restaurants without anyone thinking of it as unusual. In the Mediterranean, acorn bread was baked in parts of Sardinia and the Iberian Peninsula for generations. In Spain and Portugal, entire economies still revolve around the bellota acorn, which feeds the free-range Iberian pigs that produce some of the most expensive cured ham on earth. The oak has been recognized as a food tree across multiple civilizations on multiple continents for millennia. The idea that acorns are not real food is a remarkably recent invention, and it is an almost exclusively American one. So what happened? What turned the most abundant free food on the continent into something that Americans step over on their way to the grocery store? The displacement began with colonization, but not in the way most people assume. European settlers did not simply arrive and ignore the oak. Many early colonial records openly acknowledged that indigenous peoples ate acorns and that the food sustained them well through harsh seasons. The issue was never ignorance. The issue was economics. European agricultural tradition was built around annual grain crops: wheat, barley, rye, oats. These crops had to be planted every spring. They required plowed fields, purchased seed, and organized labor. And that annual cycle was not just a farming method. It was the entire foundation of European land ownership, taxation, and wealth extraction. A landowner could measure productivity by the season. A government could tax a harvest. A merchant could buy and sell grain as a commodity on a predictable schedule. A lender could extend credit against a future crop and collect interest when it came in. A perennial tree that dropped food on its own did not fit that model at all. You could not measure an oak harvest the same way you measured a wheat field. You could not force tenant farmers to depend on a landowner for access to a tree that grew wild in the commons. You could not build a cycle of annual debt and annual purchase around a crop that never needed replanting. The oak was economically uncontrollable, and in a colonial economy designed to extract wealth from land and labor on a repeating schedule, an uncontrollable food source was not an asset. It was an obstacle. As European agriculture spread across the continent, forests were cleared not only for farmland but in ways that systematically dismantled the food systems that had allowed indigenous populations to live independently. Millions of acres of mature oak forest, some of it carefully tended for centuries, were cut down and converted into annual monocultures that required purchased inputs every single year. Within just a few generations, the food knowledge that had sustained human life on this land for 10,000 years was nearly erased, not because it failed, not because it was replaced by a system that generated more profit for the people who controlled the inputs. That pattern did not slow down, it accelerated. After the Second World War, industrial agriculture scaled up dramatically, and the economic logic that had originally displaced the oak became the economic logic of the entire American food supply. Fertilizer companies needed farmers to buy fertilizer every year. Seed companies needed farmers to buy seed every year. Chemical companies needed farmers to buy pesticides and herbicides every year. Equipment manufacturers needed farmers to finance larger and more expensive machines to work larger and larger acreages of annual crops. Every single dollar of profit in industrial agriculture depended on the annual cycle continuing forever. A perennial tree that produced calorie-dense food for 300 years with zero inputs was not just unprofitable. It was the end of the customer relationship entirely. The USDA, which has spent over a century promoting commodity agriculture and distributing billions in annual crop subsidies, has never once mounted a serious campaign to develop the acorn as a domestic food crop. There are no acorn subsidies. There are no acorn price supports. There are no federally funded university extension programs teaching American families how to process acorn flour the way the Miwok did for 100 generations. The institutional silence is total, and it is consistent. And it is not because the science does not support it. A single mature oak tree can produce between 70 and 150 pounds of acorns in a normal year. In heavy mast years, large oaks have been documented producing over 500 pounds. An acre of mature oaks can match or exceed the calorie output of an acre of wheat, and it does so without a single dollar spent on seed, fertilizer, pesticide, irrigation, or tillage equipment. The science is not the problem. The science has never been the problem. Now set that history against the reality of the present, and the contrast becomes almost painful. American households are spending more on groceries than they have in decades. Food prices have climbed sharply over the past few years, and they have not come back down. For households on fixed incomes, particularly retirees, the squeeze is constant and worsening. Meanwhile, the agricultural system that is supposed to feed the country is quietly breaking down on its own terms. Topsoil loss from annual monoculture is accelerating across the Midwest at rates that should alarm anyone paying attention. Aquifers that irrigate the grain belt are being drawn down faster than they can recharge, and projections suggest that parts of the high plains will be unable to support large-scale crop irrigation within a generation. The model that replaced the oak is not just more expensive. It is consuming the very resources it depends on. It is destroying the soil. It is draining the water. And every single year it demands more synthetic input just to hold the line. Meanwhile, the oak does what it has always done. It holds soil in place with roots that reach deep enough to find moisture that shallow-rooted annuals will never touch. It builds topsoil year after year instead of stripping it away. It sequesters carbon. It shelters wildlife. It requires no irrigation once established, no annual planting, no chemical application. And it produces food reliably for centuries, all of it for free. There are people in this country who have quietly started to reconnect with this. Small-scale producers are making acorn flour and selling it at farmers markets and through independent online shops. Permaculture designers are building food forests with oaks as the anchor species, producing long-term calorie yields with almost no recurring labor. A handful of researchers have begun evaluating acorn varieties for flavor, nutritional content, and tannin levels, doing the same kind of patient-selective work that turned wild grasses into modern wheat over thousands of years. The work is real, and it is growing. But it is happening almost entirely at the margins, without institutional backing, while billions in federal money keep flowing toward annual commodity crops that are draining the aquifers and mining the topsoil down to nothing. Nobody is suggesting that America abandon grain farming tomorrow. That is not the point, and it never has been. The point is that there is a food source already growing on this land, in your state, in your county, probably within walking distance of where you are sitting right now, that produces dense, storable, calorie-rich food every single autumn without asking for a thing. And the reason you were never taught to see it as food has nothing to do with nutrition. It has nothing to do with taste. It has nothing to do with science. It is because a tree that feeds you for free, year after year, for 300 years, is the one thing an economy built on annual dependency cannot afford for you to notice. The oak is still here. It has outlasted every system that tried to replace it. It is patient in a way that industries and governments are not. And it is still dropping